Hey guys, it's Lindsay. I'm in Los Angeles with my buddy John Huddle. John is my boss and also one of my closest friends, and he is with us today to really get down to the nitty-gritty about why our miles matter and how what we're doing is literally changing lives, transforming communities on the other side of the planet, but ultimately right here, rocking churches, transforming families, and giving us greater meaning and purpose than we've really ever hoped for or even dreamt for. We've seen so many people's lives change in the last 8 years with Team World Vision, and personally with my church the last 4 to 5 years. It's just been incredible. So I'm going to open in prayer real quick, and we're going to get this party started. And hopefully, as you're eating your yummy lunch, we can fill your minds and your souls and your hearts with great stuff for these kids. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for giving us technology. God, we pray that it works and that more than anything that you speak to us, that you show us what your plans are and what your kingdom is all about and how we get to be a part of that, Lord. Break our hearts with what breaks yours. Empty us of all but love. And Lord, make us be bold. Let us be bold and live courageously. Whether we live, whether we die, that we get to be a part of your mission and your kingdom, and that's all that matters. In Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. So like I said, this is Johnny Huddle, and Johnny is actually the #2 fundraiser in the history of Team World Vision. And he would never probably tell you that because he's one of the most humble guys I've ever met. But John, we've got 20 minutes.
Yep.
I see this. Why keep running? Why run 40 miles on your 40th birthday to try to raise 40K for kids? Why do that? And why should our team continue to do this?
All right. Hey guys, I ran my first half marathon in Seattle. It totally changed my life. So here we go. So I was born in Los Angeles. No, I'm joking. When I was a kid, when I was a young man, I was an angry kid. I had temper issues. My dad was a pastor at a huge church in Central Illinois, and this man from Nairobi, Kenya, his name was Nafat. He was a first-generation college student. He made a huge impact in my life. I met Nafat through the church. He would sit down in the grass outside of the church facility, and he would just say to me, "Bwana John, tell me about your day." It made such a huge impact on my life that when I was a student at the University of Illinois, I minored in African Studies. I took Swahili as my foreign language because I had like what a lot of Christian kids in America thought, that I would go to Africa one day and help people, you know. And of course, I never did anything. Interview, and I woke up one day. I was 36 years old, 50 pounds heavier than maybe 40 pounds heavier than I am today. I had a totally torn meniscus in my right knee, and God miraculously healed my knee. A friend of mine prayed for my knee at a coffee shop, and God healed my knee. The surgeons were blown away by that. And that's my crazy, weird spiritual story. So don't let that weird you out, but it happened to me. It's real stuff. I ended up doing P90X. I lost a ton of weight. And then I had Michael Chitwood, our national director, on the phone asking me, "Johnny, do you have a heart for kids in East Africa or not?" And I said, exact words, "I think I do." What if I told you that by running a half marathon with me in Seattle, you could do more good for kids in Kenya than if you moved there and lived there for a year? Would you do it? And my heart, guys, it just lit on fire. And I said, yes. And I did the base training because I was a total non-runner, but I kind of fell in love with it after 2 weeks begrudgingly. And then had some really tough runs. My 8-mile run broke me. My 6-mile run broke me actually too, because I was running for an hour, right? I mean, when you're a kid, oh, I feel like I've been running for an hour. Well, I really did run for an hour, and it would jack me up, you know. But then I hit that 10, and I moved towards race day, and race day was hard and tough and exhilarating. And you are set up for this incredible journey. But the reason why I do what I do is because of kids like this. This is Mercy and Garvis from Bartabo, Kenya. That's me taking a selfie. What do you do when you work for Team World Vision? Well, you got to take selfies with sponsored kids. That's what you do. These kids were from the age of 5 on up, walking on average a 10 to 12 kilometer round trip walk every single day, carrying a 50-pound jerry can full of dirty water that was giving them permanent upset stomachs, giardia, dysentery, as well as putting them at risk for malaria. Crazy. And clean water, the moment kids get access to that, all of those risks immediately stop. Not over time. They don't taper off. It's over. And what else is over is the route to dirty water is the #1 source for human trafficking on the planet, according to Nicholas Kristof in his book, Half the Sky. And so when they're not out there on that walk, they're in school, they're experiencing fullness of life, and they're moving towards what we want for our kids. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm passionate about doing what I'm doing. And this last year, I felt like God really convicted me because I went through a very tough season with my health. I have severe asthma. I was on prescription meds and oral steroids for 12 weeks straight. I've known for a while it was where I lived. I lived near LAX airport, and it's like the worst asthma zone in Southern California. My doc kept telling me to move, but it's hard to move in an urban area. It costs so much money, blah, blah, blah. And so I just got kind of negative and kind of frustrated. And Steve Spear challenged everybody. He's our guy who was a pastor at Willow Creek, and he ran across the country. The dude resigned his pastorate in his 50s to run across the country for kids in Kenya. And he said, you know what I'm going to do, guys? He said this on a conference call. He said, I'm going to give away everyone on my birthdays. And I thought, what did he mean by that? And he just explained it. Every year on his birthday, he's going to run the number of kilometers that he was old. And then he was going to do a fundraiser for that amount of money. So I turned 40 this last year. So the day after Christmas, we had a great Christmas day with my family. I actually videotaped the whole thing on my iPad, which was like really that was as technologically advanced as I've ever been until today's call. But you know, Christmas Day comes to an end. My kids were in bed. My wife went to bed early because, you know, we got up early that morning. We were up to like 3 a.m. the night before getting things ready. And I was sitting on the couch, and I knew that on December 26th, when I got up, I was going to run 40 miles from my house, if you know Southern California, to Knott's Berry Farm. All right. And I was nervous and freaked out. And there were 2 things I knew without a shadow of a doubt. Number 1, that I was terrified about what I was going to do. And number 2, I was going to do it. And I knew why I was going to do it. I was going to do it for these kids. I thought maybe I get 3 to 4 donations that day on my run, and I got 34 donations. I got those donations because every time I was hitting the wall or breaking, I would just put a stupid selfie video up on Facebook saying, pray for me, guys, I'm struggling. And boom, 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 people started hitting that link. And my phone blew up all day. And that carried me to mile 32, which I ran the first 32 legit. And then I just kind of broke, and I just hobbled through the last 8, you know. And I love being a part of Team World Vision. I love this ministry. I do not love running. And you may. And you need to know that if you do love running, you're like, man, I don't got that struggle story that Johnny's telling. It's not, you know, I can't identify with people in my weakness. Well, this is what you can identify with people. I'm going to just click this button real quick. If you can see that photo behind me, the tall child is Ava, my sponsor kid, who was doing a 10-kilometer walk 3 times a day for dirty water that was killing her and her family. She now has clean to continue to fundraise. I got my largest donation ever from a dude that heard me preach at a church, pretty much. Flip-flop wearing dude my age, $25,000. Gave a donation for $25,000 when he heard I was doing this 40 miler. Because, you know, he's looking at me up and down, he's sizing me up, and he's like, yo, Johnny, this is incredible that you're doing that. Why are you doing it? I told him Ava's story. I want to end the clean water crisis for these kids. And the development that we do, guys, I don't know if you've checked out the Impact website or not, but we don't use a cookie cutter approach to development. We don't have a one-size-fits-all mentality. World Vision is the world leader in clean water development right now. That's not a boast. It's just a fact. And one of the reasons why it is that way is because of how effective our development is. The University of North Carolina did a study that concluded that our water projects last on minimum 20 years. And there are two reasons why. The love of Jesus is on the cellular level of all the work that we do in the field, and our villagers do all that work. And so what's really been carrying me in my Team World Vision journey, whenever I face a tough fundraising moment, or whenever I face a tough training moment, is I actually, instead of scaling back, I up the ante. I try to make it more challenging for myself. I try to put myself in a position where my knees are knocking even more. My life verse is Galatians 5:1. It is for freedom. Well, I'll say it in Swahili. Kristo alitupa uhuru akataka tubaki huru. Basi msimwabali tena kuwa chini in Ishirini. Sorry about that. I almost lost it. It's for freedom that Christ has set us free. Therefore, do what? Keep standing firm and never be subject again to a yoke of slavery. So like, while you're thinking about your fundraising journey, and you're like, man, I'm nervous to talk to them. I'm not a fundraiser. Oh, I don't like asking people for money. Lives depend on us being willing to step through our fear and embrace these challenges. And those funds that you're raising for these kids and the pace you've already set, Seattle, is crazy. Lindsay's going to talk to you in a little bit about your team, your overall goal. You guys are going to destroy that goal. The pace that you've set is a it's a God-sized pace but we need a God-sized goal to go with that pace. And that's not me trying to talk you into something. I'm telling you, 5 years of experience in this, you're going to crush this thing. God's going to do something huge. The question is, are you and I willing to embrace the challenge before us and up the ante? Yeah. I think that's what I got.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, John, your story, your passion, your drive, your courage to be vulnerable is inspiring. And I think that's the thing that is always like knee knocking and really surprising to me, is that humanity desires, like deeply hungers for greatness and for hope and for love and to be a part of that narrative. And by you being vulnerable and letting people know that there's a way to help other people, people step up. They want to be generous. They want to help you personally, but they want to help the world be better. And when it seems like the world is falling apart right now and we're looking left and right for anything that we can grasp onto, we can't forget that we have to stand firm and that we have to follow a God that's calling us to something incredibly larger than what we're used to and what we're about. And that's hard, but then it's hard to believe that we're actually making a difference, or that our honest, like those are just flat out lies, you know? And we've seen that come through one time after another. And guys, we have an unbelievable fundraising platform that Johnny and I use, we all use, and miracles happen on that fundraising platform. Literally every time you get a donation, you're going to get a text message and it's going to ding and somebody's going to be alive because of you. Maybe more than one person. I mean, Johnny's talking about a $25,000 donation. I mean, guys, I know Johnny well, and he was crying his eyes out when he got that donation. And that's God. You know, it wasn't like he went into that expecting something like that.
Can I say something about that real quick? My guy that gave me that donation, number one, I mean, it's crazy. You may think, oh, Johnny does that all the time. I asked for that. And I was freaked out. And when my guy gave it, his knees were knocking. It freaked him out. I mean, imagine your donors' lives being changed because they're partnering with you, you know. I mean, that's what this is about. And if I don't make the ask, if I'm not willing to make that ask, even if I get a no, I pile grace on the no. No's are all good for me. I get nervous when I get yes, because now I got this partner who's getting my back, and I want to get his or her back to see what God's going to do down the road. And you never know who's watching you. You can never say no for anybody. And people are inspired by you. Everybody's going to go to that expo and they're going to pick up their race bib. First timers, you get a bib that you put in your chest as your number. You're going to write your name in your jersey, and beneath that's going to be your bib. And most people picking up that bib, they don't know why they're running these races. No, I want to get in shape, or it's a bucket list item. But you and I have the grace and we are fortunate to know exactly why we run. Exactly why we run.
So here's the thing. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. There's Johnny and Ava in
That's me and Ava.
Tanzania. Yeah. And that is why we run, because there are real kids on the other side of the planet and real mothers and fathers that need someone to close the gap for them. And we, generosity, our extra even can close that gap and save those lives. But then when you've got folks like this that are willing to step forward and to give even more than makes them, comfortable, the world is changing, guys, and we're a part of it. And here's the thing. It is not as hard as it seems. It is scary, and you got to be brave and you got to be courageous, but it's incredible and it's invigorating, and it changes our lives about what we think we need and what we can do and what God's all about. So I'm going to screen share real quick with you this PowerPoint that I've got for you about the how. How do we make these tasks and how do we do things? All right. So straight up, Henry Nouwen, I mentioned this quote to you a little bit earlier, but Henry Nouwen, if you don't know him, you need to start reading him now. He says that fundraising is proclaiming what we believe in such a way that we offer other people an opportunity to participate with us in a vision and a mission. Guys, a vision and a mission of the way the world can be. Fundraising is the opposite, precisely the opposite of begging. Mm-hmm. Incredible stuff. And that's the reality of what you're doing. Okay. So here it is. I want you to know that online you can see tips to get started in your fundraising. Okay. Because really, to be honest, just as hard as it might have been for you to take your first step running, taking your first step fundraising might be scarier. And that's where things are going to change and life is going to be awesome. Okay. So you can set a goal. I want you to set an example if you haven't yet, whether it's $5, $50, $500 if you have it. Give yourself your first donation. And that way, when you reach out to your friends and your family and your coworkers, they know that you're walking the walk and talking the talk, that you are in. And they can match your donation. They can come alongside of you. Maybe they double your donation. Who knows? But guys, check this out online. And we have different incentive levels. So the first time you get a $50 donation, a lot of you guys already, you know it and I know it. You're wearing that bracelet because you got your first $50 donation and one person has water sustainably because of you. And that bracelet is proof of it. So you wear it proudly. Kids, you're Lindsay Dean very much, you can stare at those shoelaces and know that 10 people are not running up that hill with dirty water on their back or scared for their lives because they're running away from somebody, because you got orange shoelaces that mean that 10 kids have water sustainably for a lifetime. So here you go, guys, on your fundraising page. And what's awesome is this is a video, right? So you can go back to it when you go online to your fundraising page. When you log in, this is what your screen looks like. Notice this red circle over here. This is your fundraising, all right? So you can view your page. And when you view your page, you'll notice it looks like this. See, on Rachel's page, she put her picture up there. And all she had to do was click this little pencil, and you can post your picture, all right? Now, if you go to that same part, if you just back click to your page, you can edit your page, all right? And when you edit your page, boom, this is what comes up. All right. You can change the picture that's on your page. You can write your story. You can tell people exactly why you're running, why it matters, what you're doing. And guys, be vulnerable with this. If you've never run in your life, people need to know that and know why you're doing it. If you've run 20 races and you are a superstar and like a Speedy McGee, and now all of a sudden you're raising money for something that matters, people want to know why. Write that there, okay? And here's the truth. Do you see this orange print? Those are Lindsay Dean notes for you, okay? Straight up. Those who personalize their fundraising page raise on average 20% more than people don't, okay? And that's not a Lindsay Dean like tip fully. That is actually like social media and social giving statistics, that if you personalize your page, you're going to raise 20% more than the person doesn't. That is fact, guys. And over here is where you can raise that goal. And this is what should make you nervous. And I'm telling you, because I am nervous telling you this right now, this should make you nervous. And why is this? Is because you're creating a generosity gap. Right here, the higher this goal is, the higher of your commitment. And that's what you're inviting people into, is a higher commitment to partner with you. And if you've got a high goal, they've got an opportunity to give more to help you reach that goal. If you got a little goal, they can give little. So ultimately, if somebody could give you a $25,000 donation, but your goal is 10,000, they're probably not going to give you that 25, guys. And again, my first goal I ever had was 1310, and I cried when John gave it to me because I didn't think I could do it. And I had to raise that goal because people stopped donating. So guys, don't slow yourself down. Allow that generosity and allow that gap so that people can fill it. And you'll see right here, you read these tips. If you raise your goal, if you increase your goal, you're going to, on average, raise twice as much as those who don't, okay? And then down here, you're going to see that is the goal. And yes, you know, as Americans, we talk about money, but ultimately, guys, we run for kids, not cash. So you need to be sure when you're telling your story and when you're thinking about your goal, then straight up, you're thinking about kids going to be impacted because of your footsteps, because of your courage and your story and your impact. So right here, Rachel right now has raised $700, but more importantly, Rachel has provided 14 people with the gift of clean water. 14 people.
It's awesome.
All right. So again, stick with me. You notice this gray bar on the top of your page. If you get a check, an offline donation, absolutely high five that person, hug them, cry with them, accept that check, and then go online, log in, click donations, and go to offline donations. And what you're going to do is you're going to download a check form, and you're going to enter the amount and the donation type that it's a check. You're going to enter that information, and bam, just like that, that's credited to your page. And when you download this check form, you can print it off and send it into World Vision with the checks.
Yep.
Now remember, when you donate online with a credit card or get a donation, that's actionable immediately. Okay. In East Africa, in our office, it's actionable immediately. Checks are a little slower, but as soon as they're processed, that means kids are getting clean water. We don't have to wait for the finish up to people. It's fuel to your feet. All right. And just to close out, I want to show you after you personalize your page, after you post a picture, after you send out that link to your friends through an email, a text message, anything. Okay. We have fundraising tips for you. Okay. So now it's all personalized and it's ready. How do you do it? Right over here, you click on fundraising tips. All right. Again, this is your home page. There is right below it is where you edited and you viewed your page. Right up here is fundraising tips. And you're going to see that, boom, this is the page that pops up. And when you get fundraising tips, I mean from real runners who have run with us. All right, this is Evan from Indianapolis. Watch this video ASAP. It is incredible and you can use it. You can take a little test and figure out what kind of fundraiser are you and how you work. Guys, this is a document that actually helps you, half marathoner or full marathoner, how to actually hit your goal or raise it. We've got sample fundraising letters. Guys, we have a legacy challenge that, again, will help you live out a legacy past, generations to come, that these miles are going to affect lives far, far, far in the future. And this document will help you divide that out and make it step-by-step tangible. And we got a print store for you. And ultimately, we all know the power of a video in a picture. So use these, check these out. You might be crying like a small child after you watch them, and then you need to send them out to your friends and they'll be crying too. And then you can talk about what sort of impact together you guys can make. So here it is. What kind of impact can we make? Guys, right now, my goal, my shaking my knees and praying goal was to have 300 runners in 2016 Seattle. Guys, we have over 330 registered runners as of last Friday. And we had, yes, we had a fundraising, a registration bump on Monday, yesterday. So I know more people registered this weekend. Guys, we're looking at a team of 350 to 400 runners. We have over 400 people online right now. And those folks to the year, that's $233,400, which more importantly is almost 5,000 people that will have water for the rest of their lives. But guys, look down at my notes on the bottom here. If we have 332 registered runners, then our goal, if we raise $770 a person, is over $258,000. But guys, that's doable. That's like in a blink of the eye. I mean, we can do that.
Yes, we can.
So what we're shooting for and what's knocking my knees is maybe I heard Jesus say 300 and maybe he meant 300,000, not 300 people. And guys, that's under $900 a person that we could provide 6,000 people with water sustainably for their lifetime if each person on our team were to do that. Guys, this is in our grasp. It is possible, and we are writing a story that's changing the course of history that will outlive us. So, I mean, keep going. You're in 18 dinner. There's tons of details and an RSVP on that. And we're going to do some mid-season training tips for you, stories from the field like you heard from John today, and how your miles truly do matter, and they are making a world of difference on the other side of the planet. So guys, I know it's call, but it was worth it. It was worth it. So I love you so much. At 5 o'clock when I'm done, and I'm getting in my run, because I know that you are too. I'm with you step by step. And let me tell you, I'm laughing and sweating and crying, and I might not be right next to you, but I'm praying for you every step of the way. And you are my motivation. These kids and this team, we're family. And I love you guys. So you got my email. You know how to reach me. If you have any questions, let me know, and we will talk to you real soon.
Yeah.
John, anything to close out?
No. Students, Seattle's never seen anything like this. It's going to be awesome. So let's finish strong. Let's cross that finish line with no regrets.
No regrets. All right. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of the day.